The only reason I set that goal was because it's like a good on paper and it felt like it should be what I was doing as I was getting older and I was getting ready to turn 25. I was like, well, I should get ready to spend on property. And here's the thing. This year, I don't want to focus on what I should be doing because everything in my life seems to just be going the opposite of direction of that. I should have been focusing on my career. I got laid off. So to hell with that, I'm going to focus on what I want to do. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. We are going to be talking about my money goals for the new year, my financial resolutions for 2022. So I want to wish you guys a very happy new year. I know we're already a little bit into 2022 and it's funny because it's like after the first 2 weeks of January, New Year's just kind of becomes like irrelevant and we're just, back to normal life. But I wasn't in the place right at the beginning of the new year where I felt ready to set a bunch of new goals. I just felt super mixed up, super lost, and yeah, I was not in a very good place. Most of you probably know by now that I lost my job just before Christmas. I wasn't in a place to make any kind of resolutions or goals. I was feeling extremely lost and I was feeling extremely scared, especially when it came to money because I lost my source of income. Essentially, I was receiving a compensation, like a severance until the end of the year. But then, January 1st hit and it was like, woohoo, new year. But for me, it was like, okay, end of getting paid. Go off and figure out your life, Zoe. So for those of you who keep up with my vlogs, you'll know that I'm currently doing a lot better. I am in Florida. That explains why I'm outside wearing workout clothes, all of that. And I'm feeling so much better. So I'm so happy to say that I'm finally in a place where I was able to reflect and set some goals. When it comes to personal goals, I still don't quite have those 100% figured out, but I have made some great strides in reflecting about money, especially in this period where I straight up just don't have any, and thinking about, okay, what do I want to do for the new year coming up? So this video is going to be that. We are going to just get comfortable, get chatty, and talk about what I'm going to be focusing on in terms of finances for the new year. I would love for you guys to take a moment and comment down below what your money goals are. It could be one, it could be all of them. I love reading what you guys are up to and what you're focusing on, and I love the way we all support each other in the comments. So be sure to leave your money goals down below, and now let's talk about mine. I wrote them all down in my new planner. This is the planner I ended up getting for the year from Indigo, and there's like a little notes section at the back. So I wrote down my money goals for 2022, and it wasn't until I reflected on last year's goals that I was able to really narrow down what I want to focus on this year. And what I mean by that is, well, one, I filmed a full video reflecting and commenting on which goals did I accomplish, which ones did I fall short with, and which ones did I fall short and just turned out to be irrelevant. So that was really helpful. You will have probably already seen that video. If you haven't checked it out yet, I will link it down below. But reflecting on that and seeing the way I set goals last year, it's going to be so different this year. So what do I mean by that? Last year, I set 10 very specific goals in terms of numbers. So I want to have this much money saved in this kind of account. And they were very specific and they were very sort of good on paper goals. And this year, I don't want to do any of that because I only really accomplished like half of those goals. And what I found was after I made those goals, I forgot about like half of them. I had set a goal to put $200 a month aside. I completely forgot about that. I had set a goal to get ready to buy property. And the only reason I set that goal was because it's like a good on paper and it felt like it should be what I was doing as I was getting older and I was getting ready to turn 25. I was like, well, I should get ready to spend on property. And here's the thing. This year, I don't want to focus on what I should be doing because everything in my life seems to just be going the opposite of direction of that. I should have been focusing on my career. I got laid off. So to hell with that, I'm going to focus on what I want to do. So this year I decided to set a word of the year for myself, and the word I chose is discovery. Now the reason I'm sharing this word with you guys in this video that's related to finance is because I want to discover how many creative ways can I make money. And now in the past, I've mentioned how I've been into selling plants and selling clothes and, all types of creative ways to make money, but those aren't those are minimal and they're great, but they're not going to pay my bills. And so I need to discover bigger and more creative ways to make more money. Essentially, I want to find the most creative and fun and stress-free ways that I can pay my bills. And so that is like my number one goal, especially how it ties into my word of the year in terms of discovery. On a personal level, you know, we can talk about that in another video, but really quickly, for me, it just means discovering, what do I want to do? I don't want to be chained to a desk anymore. I can say that with 100% certainty. So if that's not what I want, what do I want? And discovery just also means giving myself permission to fail, giving myself permission to make less money than last year, maybe even than the year before, giving myself permission to do just what feels right, and again, moving away from that should. So that's really important for me, and I think that's important to keep in mind through the rest of these goals. You guys aren't going to get a video that's like saving $10,000 in this and property and stocks. It's not going to be like that. It's really just going to be more intuitive and going along with this curiosity and discovery theme. So that being said, my first goal is to have the majority of my income come from YouTube or YouTube related sources. I have officially decided that I want to be a YouTuber. I've known this in my heart for many years, but it always felt too scary, too out of reach, and just too impossible. But this is the year that I'm going to make it happen. I love it so much, and there's nothing I can say beyond that, you know, other people have made this their career. Why can't I? Essentially, I just want YouTube to be my full-time job. And so the different streams that come from YouTube are ad revenue, there's also sponsorships, and then there's other things outside of that. And that is really where you get creative, like, you know, launching a product, launching services. Like, I haven't gone into too much detail thinking about that, but I know that this year, the majority of my income, I want to come from that realm. So whether it's AdSense, sponsorships, whether I do a product line, or like do more consulting services with you guys, like those are all things I'm going to figure out, but that's where I want my revenue to come from, and I want that to be my number one job. And that's the thing, is last year I set a goal to increase my revenue, but this year, if my goal is to make YouTube my primary source of income, I can do that, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna make tons of money, and I'm super aware of that, and I'm just accepting that, and I'm okay with it. I'm not going to set the goal to make YouTube my primary source of income, but also make more money, because this year is just gonna be about trial and error, and I might try things that fail, and I might try things that make no money, and I might get no brand deals. Like, we never know what's gonna happen. And as scary as it is, I'm just setting myself the goal to just be okay with that. Now, I don't want YouTube to be like my full income, because that does feel a little bit too scary. So I do plan on working either part-time in some sort of corporate environment, or even like a retail or restaurant environment. I'm totally open to all of those things. But my number one like other goal regarding work would be to do some sort of freelancing or contract work part-time. So to supplement my YouTube income with a part-time contractual freelance thing. I don't want to be like anybody's employee anymore. I really just want to work for myself. So that's like my number one goal. But if that part doesn't happen this year, I'm totally okay with working somewhere else. And I don't know what that will look like. Okay, you guys, my second goal is to live frugal but feel rich. This is something I spoke about in my last vlog, the one here in Florida, where I mentioned just feeling comfortable with less and not desiring things all the time, and really wanting to move away from that feeling of like always scrambling, always wanting to buy something, very like consumption centric. And while I've been here, I've barely bought anything. I think I bought like a hat and a pair of shoes, and then like a couple meals out, which is so much more reasonable than how I am when I'm at home. And the thing is I'm so happy here. I feel so free that I feel rich and I feel wealthy, and I feel like I'm living an amazing life. And just shifting my mentality from like feeling rich and wealthy and amazing doesn't need to come from always buying new expensive things. It doesn't need to come from buying tons of things. Like, you can feel good and spend less, and then just feel more secure as a result. And we'll talk about security later, because I set it at its own goal. But just to be more frugal, overall is my goal. And I'm proud of that word and that goal, because last year I set the goal to spend consciously, and it's like, okay, I'm conscious that I'm about to spend a ton of money. Like, no, that's not how I want to work this year. I really do want to be more minimal, spend way less. And the number one exciting thing that I'm going to do to start this goal, to really put it into action, is to start spending on a prepaid credit card. So I can't use that card right now because I'm still waiting for it to get sent to me. It's probably at home waiting for me in Canada, but I'm here. So as soon as I get home, I am going to hide both of my credit cards, and I'm going to start spending on a prepaid credit card, and I'm going to put the limit at $500 a month, and that is going to include groceries, any dining out, any takeout, basically anything I spend for the month will be done on that card, and that's it. So I'm going to live way more frugally with that card, but I'm really hoping it will empower me, and that feeling of security will help me to feel just more wealthy, more rich, and like live a richer life in that sense, rather than just be so focused on consumption. If you guys are in line with that, if that is something that feels good to you, I want to give you this tip that I need to take my own advice for, and that is to get rid of social media. I've been spending a lot more time on Instagram since becoming unemployed. I didn't even have Instagram on my phone while I was working because I was just too busy and it was eating up all of my time. But hey, I lost my job, may as well get Instagram back. And you guys, I can confidently say that that app is so toxic, and it makes me want to spend. All I see on Instagram is, oh, this YouTuber's new car and this YouTuber's new bag. I follow a lot of YouTubers, but you know, it's all like, oh, I like her workout outfit, I should get that. And it's like this constant influx of like, you need this, you need that, you need to look this way, like everything about it. And it makes you want to spend money because it makes you feel like you're less than, so you got to spend money to fix this problem. That is like what Instagram does to me. So along with like this living frugal, it's going to be spending way less time on Instagram, going back to deleting it altogether if that's what I need to do. But I know for a fact Instagram has such a negative impact on my spending. It really makes my spending go up. So being conscious of what makes you spend is going to be really important when it comes to living more frugally. And then once you figure out, okay, these are the things that make me spend, abolishing them or working on correcting them is really going to help you. And it's really going to correct that behavior in the long term as well. Number 3 is to become obsessed with investing. Last year, I set the goal to purchase one single stock. And I blew that goal out of the water, so to speak. I purchased lots of stocks and I love it. I feel so good when I'm investing. And you guys, like the markets are doing terrible right now. Like I am not even making tons of money by any means on any of my investments. I'm probably losing money on most of them. But just being in the game, having my foot in that realm feels so good. And it just feels like when I look at it, I feel like I'm looking at future wealth and like for future me. And it's something that I feel really, really proud of. So when I say become obsessed with investing, what I mean by that is let's say I have $100 in front of me and I'm like, okay, I could go buy this at Lululemon or I can invest it. I want to be so obsessed with investing that I will always choose to invest my money rather than to spend it. That's what I mean by that. And why is that? Well, it's for the future. Money that is invested most of the time grows, and like what more can you ask for? Especially now as I'm moving in this more self-employed, self-sustaining direction. I don't know where my next paycheck's gonna come from, so I wanna know that the money I already have is working for me while I'm on the other end working. And hey, maybe one month I don't get any money. Maybe my channel performs badly. Maybe I have no brand deals, right? All of these things are possibilities, but at least if I know confidently that my money is invested and it's working for me on the other end, it's a huge weight off of my shoulders. And at least I don't have that guilt of looking in my closet and seeing all my money hanging there before me, like immediately losing value. I know it's somewhere safe and again, working for me. Do you guys remember in Sex and the City when Carrie, like something happens and she needs to buy her apartment and she's like, well, where did all my money go? And then she looks in her closet and like it's all there. By no means do I have a Carrie Bradshaw closet, but sometimes I do feel like that. It's like, well, where'd all my money go? Like, oh, maybe it's in your $100 Lululemon leggings and like your $300 winter jacket. Maybe that's where your money is, Zoe. So I'm gonna stop putting it there. So I wrote in here, stop having money in lots of different accounts, invest it all. So right now, and you guys may know this from my monthly money update videos, but I like to keep little stashes of money everywhere. I'm like a little groundhog, and I'll have a pocket here and a pocket there, and they all have a specific purpose that they're assigned to. But then again, they're all in savings accounts earning no interest. So while it's good and while it feels good for me to have it all organized like that, I would like to try moving away from that method and more into just having it all invested. And if I really do need it, then I can take it out. It's not the end of the world to withdraw from your investments if it's for, you know, a good purpose like paying my rent. But I don't need to have money scattered everywhere. I would rather have it, again, working for me in an investment account. At the moment, I probably have over 8 savings accounts in total, and they are all like earning no interest. So I wrote down to reduce it to about 4. So the 1 month ahead account, the saving to spend account, which I do really, really like. That's where I put paycheck earnings to put towards my credit card. YouTube tax and spending account, right now they're separated, but I will just combine them into one. So that is for things related to the business. So I would like to have kind of a safety nest put aside of like, oh, I need to, you know, buy a new camera, for example. I'm not like scrambling to make up that money or withdrawing it from an investment, but I just always have a little safety net for the business put aside. And then my emergency fund. Those are the only savings accounts I should have. And this may change throughout the year, but this is what I'm thinking to start for now. Okay, guys, my 4th goal is to feel safe. I don't think there's like a better feeling than that. And I say that right now because I just don't really have that feeling. I spent all of my money at the end of the year. Like, I'm really starting 2022 on the freshest of fresh slates. I have barely any money in savings. I've spent my 1 month ahead account. My emergency fund is now going towards my rent. Like, my emergency fund is doing what it was supposed to, I guess. And I have no steady income. I don't have a job. So this feeling of security is one that I want to build up from a financial perspective as this year of discovery unfolds in front of me. So what does security look like? First of all, getting my emergency fund back up. This could take all year to get a $10,000 emergency fund built back up, but that's okay. The other thing is that I might have to start treating my emergency fund more like a sinking fund, because at the moment I don't have enough money coming in to cover my rent. So I've already withdrawn $3,000 from my emergency fund that was at $6,000. So if I withdraw $3,000, then eventually putting it back and slowly working on growing it all the way back up to $10,000, and then always keeping it at that amount and treating it like a sinking fund. So if money comes out, that is #1 priority to eventually put the money back in. The next thing I want to have is a 1 month ahead account. I set this goal last year, I achieved it, and then I spent it, which is fine. We're gonna build it back up. And I think I would like to get this built up even to a 2 month ahead account. So rather than $2,000, have it be around $3,500, which is enough money for rent, parking, gas, and a little bit more throughout the month. And just to have that readily available right there in my banking app, it really gives that sense of security, and it doesn't feel like you're paying for your rent out of your paycheck. So for those of you who are working like a traditional job and you have, you know, your bi-weekly paycheck coming in, I'm sure some of you have felt that feeling where it's like money comes in and then right away you have to put it to rent, and it's not the best feeling. That's why I established that 1 month ahead account, so that I wouldn't be just like, the money wouldn't immediately disappear. I would filter through my 1 month ahead account. So at the end of the month, when your paycheck's coming in and your rent's about to be due, you know that the paycheck that's coming in isn't going straight to rent, it's going into your account. And then, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like this constant feeling of security. It's, even though it doesn't totally make sense like mathematically, feeling wise, it just feels really good. So when it comes to security, that is going to be a big one. And the other aspect of that that isn't financial is mental, is knowing that you're safe no matter what. If you're someone who grew up with parents that were fighting about money, or money worrying parents like I did, I grew up with a mom who was always worried about money. Sometimes there's this feeling that no matter how much money you have in the bank, you're never safe. And that isn't about making more money, putting more money into savings. That's really mental, and it's really about training your mind and training your anxiety to know that you're safe. So that is a totally other aspect of this goal that I'm going to need to work on, is just feeling safe no matter what. I think I did kind of overcome that a little bit when I did lose my job, is like, okay, I lost my job and whoa, everything around me is still here. My dog is still here. My apartment is still here. Like, everything's still here. It's okay. And when you have financial anxiety, like for me, losing my house, which isn't even mine, like it's a rental, but still, like losing a place to live is my greatest fear. So losing my job and then still having my apartment and knowing like, okay, I have the savings, like I can still afford this place for another few months and I'll figure it out, is like, it's like facing my fear head on. But there's still going to be work to do, you know, from a mental perspective, to maintain that feeling of safeness and knowing no matter how much money you have, you are safe. Okay, on a totally other note, my last goal, number 5, is to participate in active stock trading. So right now I have money invested in stocks. I have an RSP account, which is a retirement account, and a tax-free savings account. Both of these I purchase stocks in. I have more money in my RSP, so I spend more time and money there, but it's fun. So far, I've only purchased stocks. I haven't really traded any, in that, like, I haven't like, okay, I'm buying this, I'm gonna make a profit, and when it gets to this amount, I'm gonna sell it. I've only ever sold one stock, and I sold it at a loss. It was AMC when all of that trend was going on. I just got rid of it because it was losing me money, and I was like, get this out of my sight. But I would like to spend more time researching stocks and just like playing around with it a bit more. I think it can be something that we can have fun with, and like it's made money for other people doing that, so like obviously I can make money in it too. I have to be smart about it, but yeah, I think I want to have some fun in the stock market and actually start actively trading and hopefully make some money that way. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm gonna buy a Lamborghini with it, but you know, just for fun, and maybe in the future that could be something that I could make more significant gains from. But for now, it's just for fun, and I think it's all about learning. Stocks can be so intimidating, but just starting slowly and going piece by piece, that's how you start and that's how you learn. And of course, I will take you guys on that journey with me. If you are watching this and you are a more active stock trader, can you comment down below some resources that you use to like research things, or how do you know like what to do? I would really appreciate your help if you can let me know in the comments. Maybe it's a YouTube channel that you watch or like a newsletter you're subscribed to. I would like to know so I can make some informed trades. But yeah, that is overall my 5th and final goal for the new year. So that's it, you guys. As you can tell, it's much more minimal, it's much more realistic, I think, but it also leaves a lot of room for interpretation, which is fun. You know, when you set a certain goal, you either achieve it or you don't, and that's okay. It's totally okay to not achieve a goal, or to set a $10,000 goal and only accomplish 6, because at least you did more than nothing. But this year I'm going to try out this method with something a little bit more vague, that removes some of the pressure and just allows me to have fun with money as I go through this year of discovery. So you guys, that's a wrap on this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for commenting if you did. If you haven't yet, don't forget, comment down below what one of your money goals is for the new year. We can all support each other, and make sure you're subscribed so that you can stay on this ride with me. I love keeping you guys updated, keeping you in the loop, letting you know my successes and failures, so make sure you don't miss out on that. And with that being said, I love you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.